Donald Trump is a threat to our national security. And so, yes, polls and all that may show that he has a front-runner status, right? And people have thrown some of those stats in my face.
They all show them.
And but here's the difference. So that means we should just give up and accept that Donald Trump is going to be the Republican nominee? Absolutely not.
Some strong words there from long-shot Republican presidential candidate Will Hurd, the former Texas congressman, speaking to the ladies of The View this week about the 2024 race to the White House.
The comments coming days after news of a possible third indictment against former President Donald Trump. That was announced by Trump. Jessie Jane Duff is a retired gunnery sergeant in the U.S. Marine Corps. Karoline Leavitt is a spokeswoman for Make America Great Again and a former assistant press secretary in the Trump administration. We appreciate all of your time. Thank you so much for coming on. Karoline, I'll start with you on this one here. Hurd's comments, let's just begin with that. One sentence, audience applause, and then he carries on.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Will Hurd feels really good about that audience applause on the set of The View, because he's obviously running to get a contributorship with ABC, not running to be the next president of the United States. If you ask real Americans outside of New York City or the Washington Beltway who Will Hurd is, they won't even be able to tell you. Will Hurd, Chris Christie, these Republicans are trying to run for president in an anti-Trump lane that simply does not exist in the Republican Party. Donald Trump continues to hold not only a commanding, but an increasing lead amongst Republican primary voters and independent voters too. And he's the only Republican candidate also beating Joe Biden. You know, I think it's a real shame that Will Hurd is saying Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy. He is playing right into the communist and the Marxist hands by pointing the finger at the only president who never got us into new wars. He should be calling out Joe Biden, who is currently the greatest threat to our national security, our sleepy commander-in-chief who got us into the war in Ukraine, who got the botched, chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal that left 13 service members dead, and has China taking advantage of us every single day. Donald Trump will secure our national security. He's not a threat to it. That's ridiculous, and voters know it.
I wonder if we'll see Will Hurd qualifying for the first debate. Again, there's some polling requirements that all candidates must reach at this point.
And donor requirements as well.
And donor requirements, so I think that's up in the air. Donald Trump would obviously hit those marks, so he would be invited to the debate. Will he take that invitation? Time will tell. Wanted to ask about how other Republicans might view the frontrunner right now. Last month, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy was asked if Trump is the right GOP candidate for 2024. Here's his response at the time.
Trump's policies are better, straightforward than Biden's.
It makes it complicated if he's got all these trials and all this stuff overhanging.
It makes it complicated. It also helps him when.
But do you think he could win an election? Could he win an election?
Can he win that election? Yeah, he can.
You think he can?
The question is he the strongest to win the election?
He said, I don't know. Trump reportedly not so happy with those comments. The House Speaker, though, abruptly changing his tune, saying Trump is stronger now. Yet, Jessie Jane, we haven't seen an official endorsement from Kevin McCarthy. Is that sending a message, again, without that formal endorsement? What does the overall GOP speaker feel about these candidates who want to be the Republican nominee?
Well, the Trump base, which is obviously accelerating in the polls, they have basically driven President Trump to be leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else, don't care what Kevin McCarthy says or feels. These people going on these liberal medias, the left-wing medias, and trying to placate those viewers and not standing up for the injustices that they clearly see, that they know that the Biden administration is going after President Donald J. Trump for the mere fact that he's the front runner. We all know this. Every single time another indictment comes out, it's right before the Oversight Committee has another hearing. This last indictment came out when the IRS whistleblowers came to testify. Each and every time, it's like clockwork. The more they hound President Biden, they find something else or decide to go more aggressively at the former president because they know he's the clear front runner. I must say that these no-name political hacks that are trying to come in and run for president, their only message is, we don't like Trump, instead of giving us any definition of their policies. We didn't see this with Hurd. We didn't see it with Christie. They have one message, and that is, I don't like Trump, and you shouldn't like him either. That's not a winning message for anybody, and they're going to get discarded, forgotten. Voters aren't even going to pay attention to them because they're not even trying to compete for the presidential seat. They're trying to tell us how much we don't like President Trump. And on the mere fact is, the former president is accelerating in the polls.
All right, we'll leave it right there. Again, still, we have that Target letter that we know about from President Trump. Again, still have yet to see a potential third indictment here, though if that news breaks, we'll bring it to you. Jessie, Jane Duff, Karoline Leavitt, we appreciate your time and your analysis. Thank you.